One of the biggest challenges in Kitsap County and nationwide is the growing difficulty to find affordable housing. In this episode of Commissioner's Corner, we'll introduce the Pacific Building Project. This new facility is dedicated to providing shelter to our most vulnerable population. We'll talk with Robin Lund, Executive Director of Kitsap Rescue Mission, and Carl Borg of the Kitsap County Department of Human Services to learn how the Pacific Building Project addresses homelessness in Kitsap County and aims to provide safe and stable housing to those most in need. Hello, Carl. I have a few questions for you. Would you describe the Pacific Building Initiative and how the new facility will meet the county's goals to address homelessness?
Yeah, with the unhoused population growing in Kitsap County, we knew we needed to have a large shelter to be able to move them through the continuum of housing. Mm-hmm. So the Pacific Building became available. There was an Olympic fitness center, and the county purchased that, and we have remodeled that building to where we'll house 75 people, and there is a exclusive family room, so we will be able to house families as well as men, women, and we will be the first shelter in Kitsap to be able to house pets. Mm-hmm. Big reason why the unhoused are still in the woods is because they have a pet and they don't want to leave them. So this will give them a safe place to stay and be able to move on with their continuum and get more housing.
That's going to be such a valuable asset for Kitsap County and for the people who need a place to be. So another question is, why is the Pacific Building Project so critical to our community efforts in addressing homelessness?
We don't have a large shelter area, and at our last point in time count, we had about 255 people who were unhoused in the community. This will add 75 beds, and once they come into the shelter, they can work on their mental health issues, their drug addiction issues, their alcohol issues, and be able to work on getting a resume together, being able to become back into society and get a job and then move on. When they go in, they get a 90-day housing plan, and then the Kitsap Rescue Mission will be working with them to help them move forward in their life.
How do you envision the Pacific Building serving the community in the long term?
Being able to get people out of the woods. Right now, they're in the woods around your house, so we will bring them in and start making them whole again. They've all had a tragic event in their life, some sort of trauma, and that's prevented them from moving on. So we'll be able to bring them in, give them a safe place. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest issues in getting healthy and getting back into the real world is having a safe place to sleep. If you're wondering where you're going to sleep or if you're going to get mugged, or if your stuff's going to get stolen, and we will take that away. Everyone will have bins, they'll have a safe place to sleep, they'll get 3 meals a day, so they'll be able to get well.
3 meals a day and actually some tasks to help support themselves and their sense of involvement.
Yeah.
So how does a person get referred to this program, and how do they qualify?
Everyone that gets into housing in Kitsap County has to go through what we call coordinated entry. Coordinated entry is the Housing Solutions Center at Kitsap Community Resources. And what it does is they bring the people in, they sit down with them, they do an assessment, and people who are most vulnerable are the ones that get housing first. Ideally, we would like to be able to just refer everybody into housing, but we don't have that number of beds that we really need. So moving forward, this is just a start. Once we get it going, everybody will see how successful it is, and the fact that it does not make your neighborhood more dangerous. It actually helps the safety, and people will realize that, and we'll be able to hopefully build more throughout the years.
What a spectacular start.
Definitely.
Thank you, Carl, for joining me today and for the valuable information that you've provided to me and to the community.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's great to get the information out before the Pacific Building opens.
Yes, indeed. Robin, thank you for joining me here today. I have a few questions for you. The first one is, what kinds of programs and services will be offered at the Pacific Building?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we will provide safe, secure shelter for families and individuals who've been unhoused in Kitsap County. And then we'll also be providing 3 meals a day, and we average about 3,400 meals a month to our shelter guests. Our model is actually an enhanced model, so all of our services are located on site, and we've partnered with several of our community agencies to make sure that our guests are receiving comprehensive services according to what their needs are when they come into shelter.
How are you collaborating with other organizations on this project?
Oh my gosh, we have a ton of community partners that are involved with the mission and our work with our shelter guests. We've got Peninsula Community Services coming in with their medical mobile van a couple times a month, their dental van once a month. We're working with Skookum and Kitsap WorkSource, among others, for employment development opportunities for our guests. Of course, we're partnering with Kitsap County, and we've been blessed with a 0.1% grant that provides funding for our full-time substance use counselor and mental health counselor, and they provide services on site as well. And then, of course, we have case management support and housing navigation, and our guests are provided a housing stability plan that they participate in to help identify their goals and then help them reach those goals and move on into employment and to secure permanent housing.
It certainly sounds complex and far-ranging. Very, very valuable services.
Yes.
So how will you measure success of the programs that are implemented at the Pacific Building?
We are collecting a ton of quantitative and qualitative data. We do a biannual survey with our shelter guests to really ask them what their experiences have been like in shelter, what they feel is most valuable to them. I mean, clearly the two most important hallmarks for success are being able to find and secure permanent housing, and then also that employability piece for the folks who are able to go back to work. And then we also are collecting demographic data, how many folks are coming into shelter, how many individuals, families, children, and then some statistical data around average length of stay, ethnicity, and stuff like that. So we have a ton of data we're collecting.
It sounds ambitious and super valuable.
Yeah. It really does help drive our services. It informs our protocol and those types of things.
So how can the community get involved?
Oh my gosh, so we have a ton of volunteers that love to come in and help with shelter services, that help provide meals. We are getting ready for the big move, the second and third weeks in December, and what we're looking for are volunteers to come and help us with different facets of the move. Audrey Wolf, who's our development director, is coordinating all of the volunteers for this mass exodus, and she can be reached at development@kitsaprescue.org if you have interest in coming to help volunteer, or if you know anyone in the community who wants to come help and volunteer. This is the community's project, and we really want the community involved any way that they feel inclined to be involved. So the other thing that's going to be happening once we get moved is we're going to have a community council, and they will be looking at any concerns that are coming in from the community, and they will have on that committee, there'll be a neighbor member, a county member, a Kitsap Rescue Mission member, and we'll be looking at ways to ensure that our services are working well in the community, and people have a sounding board if they have any concerns about the shelter.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, to those who are watching today, you heard Robin talk about the need for volunteers. We all have skills and abilities and membership in our community and abilities to help coordinate projects such as this. So feel free to give Robin a call, or where should they call?
Yeah, so they can contact Audrey Wolf. They can contact me directly as well. My email is rlund, L-U-N-D, @kitsaprescue.org, and then Audrey Wolf can be reached at development@kitsaprescue.org.
Great. Well, thank you so much for letting us know about this. I think this is really valuable, and many members of the community, I'm sure, are going to want to help volunteer.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year, the Pacific Building will be serving our community. If you're interested in learning more, please follow the contact information you see on screen. A big thank you to Carl Borg and Robin Lund for speaking with us today, and thank you for watching.
Uh-huh.